first, when you're creating content online, whether it's a web series or whether it's a blog or you're forced to be business minded in a way that some people never expect. Like, I wanted to just be creative and put content out there and hope for an opportunity to do it on a larger scale professionally. But you don't know how much you're marketing, you're trying to build an audience, you're trying to cater to an audience, you're constantly communicating, you're trying to raise funds, there are just so many elements that you have to become good at.
Hey everyone, I'm Juliana, and this is Juliana Talks Film, the channel where I explore and examine films and filmmakers so we can learn how to make better films. If you love films and filmmaking, consider subscribing for weekly videos. In this episode, and right in time for Juneteenth, we'll be hearing from one of my personal idols, Issa Rae. Issa Rae is most notably known for being the creator, writer, and showrunner of HBO's Insecure. But her credits extend far beyond the show. She got her start writing, producing, and directing multiple web series, including the web series that escalated her career, The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl. Most recently, she's gone on to star, write, and produce films, including the most recent Netflix movie, The Lovebirds. Issa is an outspoken creative who continues to elevate the voices of minorities and people of color in the TV and film industry. Her career path was a bit unconventional, which is something that we can all learn and benefit from. So here is my take on Issa Rae's top 5 lessons on filmmaking.
What's the goal?
My goal is to be television and movies.
To do television and movies. I mean, I feel like since that was my goal too, was just about making sure that the people who are approaching you know you and know what you're trying to do and are listening to you, listening to what you want. Because I did get approached a lot of just like, this is what we see for you, and this is what the vision that we have planned for you. And it sounds great, and it sounds like, oh, okay, everybody else is doing it this way. Everybody else is having success this way, so maybe I should follow the same path. And there are a couple moments where I've had to be like, this is not what I see for myself, and this is actually not the vision I had in mind. And so honestly, it's just that, and making sure that you have like a good ass team. Like, the best thing that ever happened was the people around me, like utilizing the people around me, starting in school, and all of my hardcore friends have been in every single one of my productions in some way, whether they were in it or holding the camera when, either I was on screen or somebody else was on, or I needed a second camera person, or they were promoting it in some way. And then from that, when I actually started creating it turned into other people approaching me and being like, hey, how can I help? Like, I want to be a producer and it seems like you need some help, so like, put me on. And I'd be like, well, you're putting me on, so let's just work together. Or, I am a camera person and I do this. And a lot of my the team members that I have now, and the connects and the crew, have just come from the ground up with me. And so it's just been great to be able to kind of win with them and plot next moves. And so it's also been important for them for us to all have our own lanes to a degree, so that we're not stepping on each other's toes, and so that we're all growing together and feeling like we're not in competition with each other.
I think other people got it into my mind that you should take this to television. Like, that's the next step. And I realized, like, with my other 2 series, that's what I tried. I tried to shop Dorm Diaries and take that to television. Heard the feedback there. Again, like, Black people are into college shows and just stupid things. And then even with the F word, I thought that they were more commercial in a sense, and tried to take that to television. And again, was told, like, they have to pick one lane. Like, in television, it's either you're comedians or you're musicians. You can't do both. So I was like, by the time I came up with Awkward Black Girl, I was like, you know what? This is not for them. I'm just gonna put it on the internet. If they can't get the other 2 out, they're never gonna believe that awkward Black people exist anywhere. So my goal was just to have that online and try to sell T-shirts. And that was like the minor goal, or the short-term goal rather. And then, like, as it started to grow and sort of blow up, people recommended putting it on TV. And even when I got representation, they were like, okay, we're gonna package this and we're gonna take it to places. And one of my first meetings was extremely terrible in that, you know, the executive told us, he was just saying that, like, in order for people to want to watch this, you know, Black people love to see celebrities. Yeah, non-Black guy was like, Black people love seeing celebrities, and that just has more viability for success. And you should cast a Lauren London or a Brandy as awkward Black girl. Not just populated. You can see what Kelly Rowland is doing. It was just, and not to knock those women in any way, shape, or form, but they're just not my vision of awkward Black girl. That would have defeated the purpose in the first place. And so that reaffirmed the fact that I was like, oh, I'm doing the right thing by keeping it online. But again, there was still pressure to try to package this and take it to television. And I kept on going on these other meetings later. And then it just took everything in me to be like, to write all my representation in a long letter and be like, look, I don't want to take it to television at all. I would love to like let it grow for 2 seasons online and then see what happens, maybe do a film, but this is our mid-first season. And I was like, I just want to keep it online and you know, keep it as pure as possible. And I don't know why that was so hard. I literally wrote back, okay, yeah, no problem. But there was just I don't know, I always have this fear of like losing opportunity. But then I had to learn that, you know, opportunity is really only opportunity if you're ready for it. That's right. And I just wasn't ready for it then. It wasn't the right opportunity for me. And eventually the right opportunity came along. That's when, you know, Pharrell saw the series and decided like he really wanted to be a part of it in terms of putting it on his channel. And, you know, Google had just funded several channels, and we were able to be fully funded because of him for our second season.
I get inspired just by life. Like, I love little moments. I love, you know, a lot of my social interactions. I mine for comedy. I use a lot of my friendships. You know, I just like real life things, that I love discomfort. Like, there's just something about discomfort that makes me laugh. And it, you know, because everybody has different areas of discomfort. Like, what makes you embarrassed makes, you know, may not embarrass me, and what your point of view about something may be completely contrary to mine, and what makes people tick really inspires me. And so I feel like I'm emotionally empathetic in a way, like in terms of just feeling people's embarrassment or feeling people's emotions and things like that. And so I wonder, I try to translate that to the screen just because it intrigues me. And then whenever I get writer's block, I do like to just watch other people's processes, because that helps me. Like, when I hear about other people procrastinating, like other writers, you know, waiting till the last minute to do stuff, it just makes me feel better and not as useless. Because you just want the company. You want to know that other people are, you know, trash too. Yeah, it's been mostly based on auditions, and that was one of the things we have been clear about, is that we don't want anybody like ultra famous on the show, because you want it to feel like, oh, this is the really, LA. Yeah, and it's just, you don't want to take anybody out the scene. And if anything, we've done that on the music side, because I do like what A Different World used to do in terms of like casting musicians and making them, you know, giving them a television.
Yeah.
Love that. And
cool.
Jadena, you know, did his thing on the show. But there's so much fun in that. But outside of that, it's just been, you know, standard auditioning and people that we've met along the way that have worked on other projects and things like that. But it very much is a community, and we just also love discovering fresh faces and fresh voices.
Totally.
First, when you're creating content online, whether it's a web series or whether it's a blog or you're forced to be business-minded in a way that some people never expect. Like, I wanted to just be creative and put content out there and hope for an opportunity to do it on a larger scale professionally. But you don't know how much you're marketing, you're trying to build an audience, you're trying to cater to an audience, you're constantly communicating, you're trying to raise funds, there are just so many elements that you have to become good at. And initially, you know, I did my first web series, I created my first web series in college, just again for fun, really. with every web series that I do after that, I think there were two-year increments between the web series before I got to Awkward Black Girl. I started learning what was working with each, what wasn't. You know, for example, Dorm Diaries, I mean, it was extremely low budget. It was my first foray, and while it stood up, I guess at the time, it was like it doesn't stand the test of time now by any means. But something that was wrong with it was that it was 10 minutes long, and people would look at it. New people would be like, 10 minutes? Like I'm supposed to waste my life? So I was like, okay, that's a light bulb moment. And so my second web series, Fly Guys Who Sent the F Word, I was like, okay, this is going to be a new model. I'm in this for real. I'm going to release it every Monday at 10 a.m. Each episode is going to be the same length, about 7 minutes. And we're going to try to build our audience from there. And then even then, I learned that while people appreciated the consistency in our audience grew, 7 minutes was still like, people were, 7 minutes too long to really just engage. And while we had an audience there, I was like, okay, by the time I do Awkward Black Girl, I learned from the mistakes of these 2 web series. Not only do I need to be consistent, but I need to like draw people in. I need to have an episode that's like 3 minutes tops. And I still ended up going over a little bit, but I applied so many of the lessons that I had learned from the previous web series to this one, and just put my full weight behind it. And I didn't realize that I was strategizing that entire time.
Absolutely.
After that, it just became one long strategy to stay around.
Well, I found her interviews to be incredibly insightful. My personal favorite tip was number 2. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite tip was. I hope this video helps you on your filmmaking journey, and as a bonus for sticking through to the very end, here's an extra tip for you. Enjoy.
I think now, more than ever, I think people are looking. One, we're looking for leaders, which is I wouldn't say lacking at all. I think there's such a strong community of leaders, especially online and even offline. But I think now people are looking to their favorite entertainers to say something and to guide them to an action point. And I think for me, I'm looking for the same, and I'm looking for a community. And you know, I've been meeting with other community leaders just on the side to just figure out what it is that we can do and how we can influence change. And especially with these midterm elections, we're seeing now that is the closest that's the closest time to actually affect any real change in terms of electing the officials that we want to elect, and to encourage people to go out and vote when it actually matters, because this man has control of the House and the Senate, and you're seeing things pass at an alarming rate in record time, and that's not going to change if you're not going to get out and go vote again. So, I mean, I think I don't ever want to be didactic in my own work, but we're always going to promote conversations, and especially now, we just feel like a lot of our storylines will address how we talk with our friends, amongst our friends. I think even I have a group chat with friends where we talk about, you know, everything from pop culture to things that affect us from day to day. And one of the things that on a particular day affected me was the death of Alton Sterling. And we were all just talking about how there was another black death, and how they were saying how they had to go to work and face their white coworkers and face the fact that they just didn't have they weren't carrying the same burden. They weren't carrying the weight of just frustration, and they could live in this bubble of oblivion, of willful oblivion. And so we were just talking about our feelings and wishing that we could do something, and you know, and it ended up starting a fund for his family. And that, for me, was just a tiny thing that we could do, that we could use our platform to do, and to show, like, hey, this is a small token. We can raise money for his kids, and so many people reached out, so many people helped, that we ended up raising like over $700,000 for his kids. And I think people are just looking for actionable steps. I think people are ready and willing to help. They just want to know how, and they want to know the answers. And A lot of that work is just being done through social media.